A teenager suffered serious injuries tonight when police say he was shot in a Lexington home. What investigators say led to that shooting.
Disturbing details tonight in a case of alleged child neglect. The Franklin County Sheriff calls it one of the worst he's ever seen.
And what a Kentucky lawmaker told us tonight about a voicemail he received from Governor Bevin that some people have called threatening.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening. It looks like much better weather. We'll be moving into the bluegrass later this week, but first we have a steamy and a stormy day expected tomorrow. We begin tonight with our chief meteorologist Chris Bailey and your no-wait weather forecast.
It looks like one day left in the tank of that steamy and stormy pattern before we do see a change as we flip the calendar to the month of September. Late evening thermometers into the 70s across central and eastern Kentucky. Defender radar network, nothing going on locally. They'll look to our northwest. Showers and thunderstorms are diving toward the southeast. Those are beginning to weaken a little bit. That's ahead of a cold front that will be on top of us as we go into the afternoon tomorrow. Future radar heading through the overnight shows how those showers and storms get to about Covington, Cincinnati, and then begin to diminish, trying to fire up a little bit at times in the middle of tomorrow morning. But it is game on after that for a cold front to slam in here tomorrow evening into Thursday morning. That will have some showers and storms with it. Fall-like temperatures will follow that up as we go into the first couple of days of September. When I come back at 11:13, we're going to break down the summer that is wrapping up in the weather world tomorrow, and we'll see a little fall preview that arrives over the next few days. Sam, it's a busy 7-day forecast when I come back in a few minutes.
That it is. Thank you, Chris. Tonight, a 14-year-old Lexington boy had to be rushed to the hospital. Police say that one of his friends accidentally shot him. It happened about 7:30 tonight at the Raintree Apartments off of North Locust Hill Drive. Police say the victim and two other friends were playing with a gun when it suddenly went off. Monique Blair has our top story at 11.
Lexington police tell us the 14-year-old who was shot here at the Raintree apartment complex is at UK Hospital right now in surgery. They say he is stable, but his injuries are considered to be serious. Police tell me the 14-year-old victim was inside one of the apartments here with two of his friends, and police say the three teens were here playing around with a gun that they believe was inside the home, when at some point the 14-year-old was accidentally shot one time in his neck by his friend who lives here. The parents of the kid who shot the gun were not home when this happened. And originally, because of information they were given, police were investigating this incident as a drive-by shooting until the teen responsible admitted to accidentally shooting his friend. Police tell us there likely will not be any charges filed in this case because they do believe it was an accident.
We're more concerned about the condition of the 14-year-old, and we believe at this time that the reason that the story was given is because they were trying to protect their friend who was involved in the incident, didn't want him to get in any trouble.
And now, several hours after that shooting happened, police are still on scene here searching the inside of that apartment. They say they hope to find the gun that was used in this shooting. Reporting in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. The section of North Locust Hill in front of the apartment complex was closed for more than an hour after the shooting happened, but it has since reopened. The conditions inside a Franklin County home were so bad, the sheriff called it one of the worst abuse cases he has ever seen. He says that 3 young children were living in the home, and tonight their parents have been arrested. Kimberly and Andrew Powell have been charged with criminal abuse. The sheriff says the children were often locked in a bedroom, didn't have enough food, and had to live among human waste. New tonight, Garrett Weimer talks to people who live nearby.
Neighbors saw the investigators, but learning the details upset them.
It breaks my heart. I want to cry right now because I feel so bad for them children.
Investigators say 3 young kids who lived here were severely malnourished and hadn't been to a doctor in years. Found in dirty diapers with feces caked under their nails inside a trailer investigators say was infested with bugs.
Good afternoon.
At a press conference, Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton said the kids' parents, Kimberly and Andrew Powell, would often lock the kids up in a dark bedroom.
They were taking rope and tying it to the door and pulling the door shut, sealing them in there with black plastic over the windows and wrapping it.
Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton says the case is one of the worst he's ever seen. He says the 3 kids are better off in the care of the state than they were at home.
Just a very, very deplorable conditions with feces and urine and from humans, not animals, from humans. So a tough case.
Relatives at the home on Tuesday evening didn't want to talk. Neighbors, though, were sad to hear what the kids they've seen playing nearby may have been going through.
It might have been them kids, because they was always alone. One was about 2 and one was about 6. It might have been them.
In Franklin County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Sheriff Melton says the children's development has been delayed and their growth is well below average for being ages 6, 4, and 2. And this is heartbreaking. He says one of the children gained just 5 ounces in nearly 2 years. New tonight, a Laurel County father has been arrested. Investigators say he badly injured his 7-week baby. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office has charged 34-year-old Gary Nicely with assault and wanton endangerment. They say the baby was brought to the hospital today with a severe head injury. Deputies say the child is now at Kentucky Children's Hospital in critical condition. They say when the child was injured, Nicely was caring for her and 2 other children at the time. Deputies say he had no answer as to the cause of the baby's injury. Also new tonight, a man has been arrested in connection to more than a dozen drug overdoses in Montgomery County. Court documents show that Robert Shields has been charged with conspiring to distribute the controlled substance fentanyl. Shields was arrested in Cincinnati on Friday. He's been scheduled to be in court for a hearing tomorrow. The Montgomery County overdoses were reported last Wednesday and Thursday. Increases in overdoses were also seen last week in Ohio and West Virginia. Tonight, a Central Kentucky lawmaker is talking about a voicemail he received from the governor that's raised some eyebrows. Earlier today, Democratic State Representative Russ Meyer of Nicholasville said Governor Bevin left the voicemail after he declined to switch political parties before the legislative session. Republicans are trying to regain control of the House. Democratic House Speaker Greg Stumbo says the governor has openly threatened members of the General Assembly. Meyer gave us a copy of the voicemail tonight, which he said he actually received last December. But he told us he released it today after a story the Courier-Journal ran about the state having to pay damages to a highway contractor because the Transportation Cabinet hadn't secured land for the Brannon Road project. Now, first, here's part of the voicemail, and then Meyer's response when we asked him if he thought it was threatening.
I have had some conversations since our last conversation, a little disappointed by some of what I'm hearing. Would love to speak to you. I want to make sure you understand where things are in my mind and the decisions that I'm going to make in the days ahead, weeks ahead, months ahead. I want you to be very aware of what the impact of those decisions will be as it relates to you, your seat, your district, etc. Just so that we have all the cards on the table.
I think the voicemail completely speaks for itself. When somebody tells you what's in that voicemail, it tells you exactly how things are.
In a statement, Governor Bevin described the voicemail as, quote, polite and personal. He also said his comments were being misconstrued. There are new developments tonight in the search for a Nelson County mother who disappeared more than a year ago. Today, the Nelson County Sheriff's Office and other agencies served 2 search warrants in connection to the Crystal Rogers case. One of the searches was at a farm owned by Brooks Houck's mother. Houck is Rogers' boyfriend. And while he's not been charged, police consider him to be a suspect in the case. Police also searched a farm next door. Rogers' family says this was the largest search effort since she disappeared in July of last year.
We want closure, and we've been waiting for this for a year. And like I said, I'm not giving up till I find my daughter.
Police say this was the 3rd time they have searched the farm owned by Houck's mother. Today's search was focused more in the water on the farm. Police did not say if they found any clues today, but they plan to return to the farm tomorrow. A Madison County teenager has died after investigators say a wasp stung him. Friends say 17-year-old Austin Boggs was working at his grandfather's farm last night when he was stung. They say he later died at a hospital. The coroner says Boggs had a history of allergies and had a prescription for an EpiPen. Austin was a student at Madison Southern High. The school's pep band will collect donations for his family before Friday's football game. A GoFundMe page has also been set up. We have a link at WKYT.com. New tonight, police say they found 2 young children playing alone in the middle of a Laurel County road. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office has now charged their mother, 25-year-old Jennifer Asher, with wanton endangerment. Deputies say someone driving along a road near London this afternoon saw the 1- and 3-year-old children alone in the middle of the road. They say they later found Asher asleep inside a nearby home and arrested her. More legal trouble tonight for singer Chris Brown. In 9 minutes, why police in L.A. say they arrested him after a day-long investigation at his home. And then Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump planning a surprise last-minute trip before a much-anticipated speech on immigration tomorrow.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Hope you're having a great evening out there. A little on the toasty side. What else is new? How about a cold front that is new? That's going to blow into town as we say goodbye to August and hello to the month of September. Late evening thermometers into the 70s. Still across most of central and eastern Kentucky on another 90-degree day into parts of central Kentucky. Defender radar network, we are dry across the Bluegrass State. A little shower and thunderstorm action to our north, though. Summer recap. Summer comes to a close tomorrow, at least in the weather world. We count summer as June, July, and August. And if we look just for the city of Lexington, the average temperature so far, just one more day to go. It's not going to change much. 77.4, and we've had 16.07 inches of rain. You got one more day. I think we'll add a little bit to that before the day is over tomorrow. Where does that rank? How about the 6th warmest summer on record for Lexington? And you're thinking to yourself, what? 6th warmest on record. 21st wettest on record as well, with 16 inches, and probably adding to that for the day tomorrow. What an interesting summer. Only 29 days of 90 degrees or better. The average is 20. In the summer of 2012, when we had those 7 100-degree days, we had 38 days of 90 or better. And this summer was almost 2 degrees on average warmer than that summer. The nighttime lows this summer have been very, very high, adding to this list, keeping us in the top 10 wettest, or top 10 warmest summers on record, and one of the wettest. As a matter of fact, if you look back through the records of the top 10, this is the wettest, hottest summer ever. Makes sense? Out of the top 10, most of those were dry, except this year. 87 for that final day for August tomorrow, with a threat for a thunderstorm or two that will go up into the heart of the afternoon. Looking for some relief? Me too. That is a cold front that is on the move with some fall-like temperatures rolling on in from northwest to southeast. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, we will see those thunderstorms gathering a little steam. Brand new hour-by-hour forecast. It is hot off the presses. Let's start you out 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Trip into work and school, a little fog, 60s. We steam it up quickly. Noontime, middle 80s, could hit the upper 80s if you get enough sunshine. Then all of a sudden, we see some thunderstorms that began to kick in across the region. That's ahead of our cold front that will usher in this breath of fresh air just in time for the long holiday weekend. Forecast into the day on your Thursday will start out into the 60s with a threat for some gray skies, showers, thunderstorms in the morning. Look at the afternoon. Upper 70s, may flirt with 80 on your car thermometer. 11 o'clock Thursday. Low and mid 60s. How about the 50s in here Friday morning? Are you kidding me? We go into 5 o'clock on Friday. Quitting time, it's officially the Labor Day holiday weekend with highs into the mid and upper 70s. And we look to be in tip-top shape for all those high school football games on Friday. And if you're heading out to Commonwealth Stadium on Saturday, raise your hand out there. Sam, I see you. Yeah. We've got nice weather coming up with low 80s for tailgating. How about kickoff temperature, Sam, at around 73, 74 degrees, low humidity. Fourth quarter, we are into the 60s for that game.
We are getting fired up.
We are.
I don't know if people at home can sense it.
Yeah, we've talked.
We're ready.
We've talked about it a little bit today, haven't we?
Yeah, Brian Milam just trying to hold us back.
He's going to lead a cat's cheer over there any minute. I can hear it.
Talk about him later. Thank you, sir.
All right.
A generous gift can save someone's life. In 8 minutes, an example of how blood donations are helping people in central Kentucky and how you can make your own donation tomorrow.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Tonight, police in Los Angeles have arrested singer Chris Brown and charged him with assault with a deadly weapon. This comes after Brown and police were involved in a standoff of sorts at Brown's home today. Danielle Nottingham has the latest new at 11.
Chris Brown is back in trouble with the law.
He is going to be transported downtown where he will be booked for assault with a deadly weapon.
The arrest comes after police spent hours outside Brown's home, the R&B singer refusing to come out. He taunted police on social media.
Have you seen my house? I'm going to barricade myself in the palace. I'm not coming out. For what? When you get the warrant or whatever you need to do, you're going to walk right up in here and you're going to see nothing, you idiots.
Police came here to Brown's house initially to follow up on a call for help from a woman around 3 a.m. Tuesday. Former beauty contestant Bailey Curran told TMZ she'd been partying at Brown's house and called 911 when he got aggressive.
Pulled out his gun, pointed at me, said, "Get the F out." They tried getting me to sign a waiver afterwards, an NDA or whatever. I did not.
Police served a search warrant. Investigators emptied Brown's house of about a half dozen people, patted them down and interviewed them all separately, including Brown. Brown has had numerous run-ins with the law. He spent 6 years on probation for assaulting his then-girlfriend Rihanna in 2009. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Los Angeles.
At last check, bail had not been set for Chris Brown. There's another sign tonight that Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump could be softening his stand on illegal immigration. In a tweet, Trump said he will travel to Mexico tomorrow and meet with the Mexican president. And this comes after the Mexican president extended invitations to both Trump and Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. A campaign official said Trump's visit would take place just hours before his planned speech on immigration in Arizona. Trump said he's looking forward to meeting with the Mexican president. New tonight, police in Warren County looking for a missing man who suffers from dementia. The Warren County Sheriff's Office says that 87-year-old Fred Tabor left his home in Bowling Green about 12:30 this afternoon and has not been seen since. Police say he was driving a burgundy 2005 Toyota Tundra pickup. Family members are not sure where he planned to go. WKYT and the Kentucky Blood Center teaming up for a blood drive tomorrow right here at the station, and your donation will help many people here in central Kentucky. 11-year-old Braden Murphy depends on blood donations. He suffers from an autoimmune disorder and needs blood transfusions every 6 weeks. Without them, his life could be threatened.
Whenever a bacteria enters his body, it attacks his brain rather than the bacteria. Without these infusions that he receives, he could have had, a fatal infection.
The WKYT blood drive will go from noon to 7 tomorrow. It will be right here at the station on Winchester Road in Lexington. You do not need an appointment to donate blood. We hope to see you then. Brian, news out of the NFL, not good for a pair of former Kentucky guys.
Yeah, today Teddy Bridgewater out for the season. Tim Mastay looking for work. The Football Cats go to work Saturday. And offensive coordinator Eddie Grand gets highly philosophical after practice today. You'll hear from him next. UK offensive coordinator Eddie Grand spoke to the media today, and he is a joy to listen to. He is a deep thinker. This Saturday, UK fans will get their first look at Grand's offense, and he has a collection of talented receivers to work with. But as you know, in just about any sport, there's only one ball, only one football. How will the receivers handle not getting the ball at times?
There's going to be a time where Juice and Jeff Badette catch 2 balls in a game. And you know what? Then the next week they're going to catch 8. And how are they going to act after they catch 2? How are they going to act after they catch 1? And we win the game, And then there's going to be that time. Maybe you lose that game. What's our reaction going to be? That's what I'm looking forward to. You got to move on. You got to be able to have a short-term memory, and you've got to go to the next game. I want to see them when they don't get the ball. Are they running? Are they sprinting? Are they helping out their partner? And when we get to, and that's what's happening right now. I'm really excited. They have bought in.
How do you not get excited listening to that guy? Wildcats and Southern Miss Saturday night, 7:30 kickoff at Commonwealth Stadium. You can see it also on ESPNU. Terrible news for former Louisville quarterback and current Minnesota Vikings quarterback Teddy Bridgewater today. Just 25 minutes into practice, Bridgewater tore his ACL, dislocated his left kneecap while planting to throw.
there appears to be no other nerve or any other type of structural damage, but players were seen throwing helmets, visibly upset that their leader's done for the year. Vikings canceled the rest of their practice. 36-year-old Sean Hill is the primary backup. Former UK punter Tim Mastay released by the Green Bay Packers today. Mastay had been with the Packers for 6 seasons, where he played in 96 regular season games for the Pack since 2010, averaging 44 yards per punt. He did that 390 times. He was a good one. This past basketball season marked the 20th anniversary of Kentucky's 1996 national championship. The entire team and their coach gathered over the weekend to celebrate and share some memories, choosing to get together in Miami.
A couple of guys called me and said, "We going to do anything for a..." And I said, "Sure, whatever you guys want to do, wherever you want to go." And a couple of them chose Miami. I said, "Great, I have a house down there. We'll get it done."
The Wildcats got a chance to see the telecast of the 96 championship game, some of them for the first time. You believe that? Patino said he was part of another team reunion in Miami once.
Getting away from town, getting away from the state is going to be a fun thing. I did it at Providence in Miami. I gave the guys a choice. The Final Four we were in that year, the Kentucky Derby, which I'm glad they didn't pick, coming up with those seats, or Miami, and they all chose Miami.
During the upcoming season, you'll see a documentary that captured some of the moments of that 96 UK team. That team reunion right here on WKYT. Former Wildcat Julius Randle needed 7 stitches to close a cut on his right hand. The Lakers announced today Randle was hurt while practicing this week. He opened up a large cut in the webbing between his middle and ring fingers. Man, everybody's going down today. Men's soccer tonight at the Bell Complex between UK and the Dukes of Duquesne. The ball is centered by Jordan Wilson. Second half, Noah Hutchins will shoot it past the keeper. And folks, that is your only goal of the match. Kentucky wins 1-0. UK has not allowed a goal so far and improves to 2-0 on the young season. How'd he sneak it in there? That's something else. We'll be right back.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, less than a minute away here on WKYT, and tonight's guests include Adam Brody. Okay, one more day, and then we hit paradise.
We hit the good stuff. That's right. The emojis tomorrow. Well, they're happy in the morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we get some thunderstorms into town. Upper 80s, likely to snap that streak of consecutive 90-degree days. How about your weekend? At least part of that holiday weekend. 81 on Saturday. Anyone? Anyone? Sunshine, low humidity, looking good even into Sunday as well. The emojis are smiling. I like it.
We may even get Brian Milam to wear some shades.
Will he smile, though?